It is Monday, October 5th. This is our 137th Kahnawake COVID-19 Task Force update. As we all know, if we've been following the news at all, the numbers are astoundingly high in Quebec and across the country, but especially here, where the other day we had the all-time highest number of confirmed cases since the entire pandemic began. So, of course, in Kahnawake, we'll continue to do what we can to, keep our community safe. And as we do, as often as we can, we'll update you on what Kahnawake is doing. Of course, Lloyd Phillips will be here in just a little while, Lisa Westaway as well. But we'd like to start things off by introducing Ratsénhaienhs Cody Diabo from the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake, who wishes to say a few words to the community. Cody?
Koe Kahnawake, Cody Diabo I'm here just to give a bit of some encouragement to the community. I know we've officially been in the red zone since Thursday. The businesses have followed suit since since Saturday. In the last few days, like Joe had just mentioned, the cases are on the rise. So a lot of, what I'm here to do is just to, reassure the community that, we are taking all necessary steps, the task force, to ensure that the health and safety of the community is paramount and is the first priority amongst anything. Everybody here has dedicated a lot of time to ensuring this. And, I stand behind the decisions they've made. At times, maybe they haven't seemed, the best, or, people had wondered or questioned it, but it is all for the best for the community. With that, I just want to say, the only way we're going to get through this is together. We have been since the first wave. The second wave was anticipated. We know what we have to do. We have to wear a mask, social distance, wash our hands, sanitize, go out only when necessary, and we will get through this. We have the tools at our disposal now. We've learned so much since the first wave. And I'm just here to make sure that we're, encouraging each other. Over the recent weeks there, we've had a bit of an increase in cases in Kahnawake. There's been some, stress levels have been high. People have been lashing out at people. I'm just want to reassure that, nobody intentionally, I think wanted to catch this, and we need to encourage everybody and send positive wishes and best wishes to everybody who contracted the virus for a speedy recovery to them and their families. So with that, I just want to say, keep our heads up. We take this one day at a time, and we will get through this eventually. All right, Kahnawake, Ona.
Now, Cody, and of course, Mohawk Council of Kahnawake is updated each and every week by the task force. Usually Lloyd Phillips and sometimes other members of the task force do have a call-in meeting every Wednesday, and then of course the task force meets every Wednesday. Joining us now is a member of that task force, and she's been joining us on just about every program. Let's welcome Lisa Westaway, the Executive Director of the Cody Memorial Hospital Center.
Good afternoon. I just would like to provide a short update regarding testing at the testing site. So we continuously have an increased number of tests, up to 40 people per day since middle of last week. So I wanted to advise the community, as we have mentioned, there has been a delay with respect to getting results from the labs. So what we have found out over the weekend is that there was one of the machines had broken down last week for a few days. That is corrected. But on top of that, there's been an increase in demand. So they're at 30% higher requests for testing than their present capacity. And so they are just now starting to catch up and meet the demands for testing in the Montérégie area. So the lab that we use also tests from different testing sites, mostly in Montérégie West. And so we are checking for results on a day-to-day basis, continually throughout the days. And so sometimes, as in the case this morning, we may get some results before Regional Public Health has a chance to contact you. Although you still need to wait for Public Health to contact you to give you your result. So what we're asking of community members is, even though there is a delay, that you do stay in your isolation until you get your results, even if you're feeling better. So we did release that in a communique last week, but we want to make sure that we reiterate the importance of the self-isolation once you've been tested, and any contacts of those cases. Of course, all of us need to maintain our distance, but any contacts of those cases, if you have been tested and you've reached out to your friends or family to let them know, that everybody takes into consideration with every move that they make, distance, hygiene, and masks. So again, we are catching up on getting results for the testing site, and we will continually keep you posted. However, the importance is to always isolate when you're tested for the days that you need to isolate for, so 14 days, or until you get your results and your isolation is lifted by Public Health. So remember, distance, hygiene, and masks at all times, and we want to continuously think that those around us could potentially be positive. And of course, the main population that we are trying to protect are our most vulnerable, our elders, those who are immunosuppressed, or those with uncontrolled chronic illness. And so for those particular people, we want to be extra cautious at all times. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. And Lisa mentioned the press release that went out the other day. There have been many. I think Friday we set a record for putting out information, and I know my colleague and good friend Jean Diabo was working till about 8:30 on Friday night, just trying to make sure all of the information that the community needs to get was received. So, of course, Lloyd Phillips has a lot to do with that information. He is the head of the task force, and we would like to invite him on to the program, as we always do, to give his update here on this Monday. Lloyd, you all set? Here he is, Lloyd.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, there's some last second changes and information. But I just want to maybe start off with some general comments. Something I wanted to I stated a couple weeks ago, but I think it's very important to repeat the message that right now with the second wave of the pandemic, we're at a very critical phase. Obviously here within the community, but certainly looking around the Montreal area, things are not looking very well. And as you may have heard today, Quebec has introduced some new measures which will come into place in the Greater Montreal area over the next few days. These types of things, obviously, we look at very closely at the task force, and we determine, the rationale behind why they're doing certain things. And as you know, sometimes, we will take that information and we'll implement it because it makes sense. And other times, sometimes we're more strict than what Quebec will be doing, and other times we're slightly more lenient, for the reasons, of the uniqueness, of our community. So these things are currently, ongoing. And matter of fact, today, looking at the latest data in Quebec, we did lay out a little bit of scenarios on how this could play out over the next several days and several weeks, and trying to see where this may be going. We're considering all options, as I mentioned on K103 this morning. At this point in time, things are relatively stable. No, we're not in a sense of panic, but we have to be in a sense of extra vigilance and extra caution. But everything we've seen in March, and we all know what happened in March with the full lockdown and everything that's happened, is certainly something that is on the table still. We have to look at all these options, and I don't want to stand in front of the community and not be clear that these things are still a possibility. We're doing things very cautiously. We learned a lot during the first wave, so we want to avoid as much as possible that full lockdown, because again, we understand the major impacts it has on individuals' lives, health, safety, mental well-being of people, and obviously also the economic impacts to the community. So that's something I just want to reinforce that message to the community. And as we get more results coming back from tests over the next few days and so on, then that will help guide us even further over the next little while. And actually, Lisa will be speaking with Dr. Gauthier this evening to run some information through her, and that will help feed the upcoming task force meeting, which will take place on Wednesday afternoon. So it's, again, I just wanted to update on those areas quickly. And at this point, again, it's time for community members to plan ahead. As I mentioned last week, whether you're looking at yourself as your family unit, if things progress and we do have to go into much stricter measures, into partial lockdown or full lockdown at some point in time, plan now. How are you going to address this as a community? How are we going to address this as a family unit? How are you going to how can you modify what you did the first time to make things easier for yourself? If you have issues of shared custody with somebody, or if you have a community member or a family member who lives outside the territory. So these types of things, I think you should start looking at these things now and plan ahead. If you need to have isolation area in your home, make sure you have a plan that you could utilize, or a place that you can go. This will help you in the event things progress. At least you'll have a plan and help relieve a little bit of, I guess, anxiety on yourself as a family and as a community as a whole, if we know we have a plan if we need it. And I want to again just mention that we're hoping again a lot of these things that we don't have to go down this path, but I prefer each and everybody be prepared and be mindful in case we have to go down that road. Again, similar with the businesses. Unfortunately, we had to make some tough decisions last week, and some businesses were impacted, mainly those associated with gatherings. So we had to make those tough decisions, and we're hoping that those measures, can be reversed, sooner rather than later. But unlike Quebec, we don't want to put an exact timeline on it, because I don't want to be in a situation where we're going to give somebody a timeline and have to keep pushing it back. Depending on the situation. So at this point in time, I just rather have it, be open-ended, knowing full well that we want to end those measures as quickly as we possibly can. And other businesses, I would start thinking about contingency planning. What if, again, played a little bit of the what if scenario. What if I have to modify my business further? What if we have to close? What do I have to do as a business owner, to prepare my business, the stock that I have, my employees, and so on. Again, have something that to remind yourself to have a plan in place. So if those directives have to come down, you're not totally caught by surprise, and you'll have again some plans on how you'll conduct yourself. I mean, from a task force perspective, I mean, we don't want to get involved in everybody's detailed business and how you would adjust, but certainly we'll give that general guidance, and then it's up to everybody to take that and implement it accordingly. Just a quick reminder that again, gatherings, any public gatherings at this point are not permitted, only under certain circumstances, such as funerals and religious gatherings, ceremonial purposes, and there may be a few others that would have to be pre-approved. Again, that's before the purposes of limiting the spread of the virus, where we said that gatherings have been the primary source of the spread. Also, as we speak today, 6 people maximum allowed in your home, on your property, to have that social interaction. Again, maintaining distance and hygiene and masks, as you know, if you're going to be within 2 meters. That is also something that has to be reviewed, has to be looked at a little more closely. So those things may change as time goes on. So stay tuned for more information. I just want to be clear and make sure that you know, you keep going back. If those of you who have Facebook, which is many people do, maybe if you don't, you go on there just for information purposes only for on Kahnawake 911, because sometimes, you know, if you watch the news, you know, information from Quebec and Montreal may differ from that here in our community. So it's good to make sure that you get your source of information from a Kahnawake source that will be most up-to-date and most accurate information for you. So with that, like I said, we are in the process of evaluating everything, as we always are. We will have more information for the community on if there's going to be a need for additional measures. But we look at it again from a very holistic perspective. We're looking at it from the medical facts. And as we said from the beginning, we'll always let science lead the way. We have input coming in from, like I said, Dr. Goche, Lisa, who's also obviously the co-lead on this file, helping guide the community in the right direction. So we'll be back here tomorrow with another Facebook Live. We have a task force meeting on Wednesday with more information. And also, for your information, on Wednesday, we're going to be discussing issues regarding Halloween and making some recommendations on that as well. So thank you with that very much. Ana.
All right, Nyawa Lloyd, and Nyawa to you for watching today. And we hope that we can all just stay safe and navigate this. Remember, you know, we have been through this once before, so we've learned a lot. Let's take those lessons and move forward and do what's best for this entire community. So on behalf of everybody here at the COVID-19 Task Force, Nyawa Goa Danu, Onigiwahi.